Behind me is the brand new Pilatus PC12 Pro. It's the next generation of the PC12 aircraft that a lot of us know and love, especially to those of you like me who might live in Australia. You'll know this aircraft very well from all the work that it does with the Royal Flying Doctor Service. But today, very fortunately, Pilatus have asked me to come down here, give the aircraft a go, put it through its paces here in Switzerland and see exactly what's different about this aircraft and why an Australian company whose sole job is to save lives in the brutal Australian outback has chosen a Swiss company to build the aircraft for them. So we're just pulling the PC12 Pro out now from the hangar. We've just done a quick briefing on the ground with David, our pilot for today. I think the plan is that we're going to be flying, I just don't want to get clocked by the wingtip. I think the plan is that we're going to be doing about a 20 to 25 minute flight, just local area. But one of the things that I really want to look at with this aircraft is its short field performance. So it's short takeoff and landing performance. So even though we've got ample runway down here at the airfield in Switzerland, we're still going to put this aircraft through some of its paces and see what it can actually do.
Beacon light is on, the propeller area is cleared. I'm on the brakes, engine switch to run. I check the fuel pumps, they are both on idle position, and let's start the engine. Start the ignition, NG, oil pressure is rising. Line up, first peak 655 and second one 706. And now finally the air conditioning is working.
The air conditioning comes on the best moment.
Yes. You're ready to taxi?
I'm ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Taxi area is clear, taxi light on, park brake is released. It's a little bit of power. And we have a rudder interconnect, so if I put right rudder, the aileron will also steer to the right.
I noticed that, yeah. I didn't realise, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, okay.
So the gate is open, let's activate the traffic light. And then we put on all the lights, the whole Christmas tree.
So everyone knows we're crossing the road.
Yes.
There's a cyclist just trying to make it across.
Yeah.
And I can see Joel out here as well, just in the heat doing some filming.
So I have a green light.
Okay.
On the left. Looks good on the right as well. Runway 06, Pilatus 60 Delta. Runway 06 identified approach sector is clear. And also the TCAS is clear. Just a farmer working next to the runway.
Oh yes.
Inside. And Pilatus 60 Delta, confirm clear for takeoff. Ready?
Ready to go.
Okay. Takeoff. Takeoff power is set, checked, good engine, brakes released. Airspeed alive. 60 knots cross-checked. Rotate. It already flies. First intersection already airborne. Speed checked. Flaps 15.
The Pilatus PC12 has been one of the world's most successful single-engine turboprops for more than 30 years, and this is now the third iteration of the aircraft. The original PC12 entered service back in the 1990s before being updated to the NGX in 2020. This had a more powerful PT6E engine, digital engine controls, and one of the first auto-throttle systems fitted to a single-pilot turboprop aircraft. But now comes the PC12 Pro, which under the skin, actually remarkably little has changed. It uses the same airframe, it's got the same Pratt & Whitney PT6 engine, but it's in the cockpit where you can see a huge transformation. The Honeywell avionics have been replaced by Garmin's all-new G3000 Prime flight deck, featuring high-resolution, huge touchscreen displays, really fast processing, there's no lag on these screens. And from 2026 onwards, the PC12 Pro can also be retrofitted with Garmin's emergency auto land system. A single button press which basically automatically takes the aircraft from whichever phase of flight it's in all the way down to a runway without requiring any human intervention. But despite the massive technological changes that you see in the PC12 Pro, one thing has remained constant throughout every generation of the PC12, and that is its ability to operate from airstrips and remote regional airports around the world where other single-engine turboprops might struggle.
Wow, you have a stunning country to fly in.
It is, indeed.
This is
Nice office view, right?
nice office view, and yeah, very different to Australia.
You should be able to see the airfield of Buochs down there.
Where we departed?
Yes.
Yes, so just in the valley? Oh gosh, I need to focus on the aircraft, but the view is stunning.
Yeah, I know.
And you've got snowy mountains out to the left.
It's quite hard to focus into the cockpit, right?
This is wonderful. This is so good.
So on the weather radar we have now a nice picture in the region of Interlaken. That's between Lake of Brienz and Lake of Thun.
Oh yeah.
We have some build-ups, you see. Also visually we can detect the weather over there, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yep, I see.
Yeah. And with the new weather radar, it's all in auto mode, so you don't have to play around with your tilt and gain.
Yeah.
So it makes it quite easy for the pilot. You still can go back to the manual mode if you like to,
Yep.
but you don't have to. Yeah.
Oh wow, David.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's the north face of the Eiger.
Is that the Eiger?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I've watched so many climbing documentaries about people who climb the north face of the Eiger.
Okay. Yeah, let's have a look.
That's... oh gosh. I didn't realise that was that close to where we were flying today.
Oh, it's a small country.
And a fast plane.
Yeah, true.
If you're ever in remote rural Australia and God forbid something happens to you, there is a strong chance that the aircraft that could come along to save your life one day would be built by Pilatus. Today, the Royal Flying Doctor Service operates one of the largest fleets of Pilatus aircraft alongside their fleet of Beechcraft King Airs. Around Australia, the Royal Flying Doctors have got around 36 PC-12s and 5 PC-24 jets, which help to make up their national fleet of over 80 aircraft now. The King Airs are primarily used in Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria, whilst the PC-12s and PC-24s are the workhorses of Western Australia and South Australia, where the distances are vast and the airstrips can be little more than dirt runways. And that's exactly why Pilatus aircraft were chosen. The PC-12 combines its exceptional range with the ability to carry patients, medical crews and equipment into short, remote and often unsealed airstrips, whilst the faster PC-24 brings all of those capabilities but with jet performance. But all of those operational and performance benefits actually come in an aircraft which, for someone who's quite tall like me, is actually a pretty comfortable cockpit to sit in, but a very fun aircraft to fly. And so this aircraft's ready to go. It's ready to go to Australia now. Yeah. So this is the lift, obviously, that can lift the stretcher up into the inside of the aircraft. Apparently up to 320 kilos you can lift up here. So I've had a big lunch, but I'm obviously not that heavy here. But fantastic system to get patients safely in and out of a PC-12 Pro without them having to get out for the stretcher at all. I feel like I'm surfing. It's amazing. That's a great machine. Thank you so much. If you were to watch my Aero Friedrichshafen video, you'll remember Joel. How are you, Joel? Hello. It's good to see you again. Joel's giving me a bit of a tour around the Pilatus factory here in Switzerland, and the very first thing that we're looking at is obviously one of the Royal Flying Doctor PC-12s. Now, this is the paint shop. Is that where we are at the moment?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is the paint shop.
And so the aircraft coming here is obviously getting the very famous blue, white and red RFDS livery that you'll be familiar with if you would have seen obviously RFDS aircraft flying all around Australia. And what I loved is as well, you've got a couple of people who are just working on the detail, the very, very fine detail. It's not just spray painted in and out of the shop. So how long do you reckon an aircraft like this until it's ready to head off to somewhere like Australia if it's in the painting phase?
I think this one 3 to 4 days.
Over there is the so-called Lechenlücke, and behind is the Aletsch Glacier, Glacier Aletsch. If I'm not wrong, it's the longest glacier in Europe. Almost 20
cool.
kilometers or so.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. And it's all just single power lever
It is.
that you're doing
It
in
is.
this.
Yes.
Because this is...
No RPM, no mixture, nothing.
It's a single lever. You were telling me on the ground, David, it's not a FADEC. You don't...
Yeah, we call it EPEX because it's a FADEC, but it's not only about the engine, it's also about the propeller. So it also controls the propeller. So it's EPEX. Engine propeller electronic control system.
Okay.
You see now is 50 degrees of bank. I'm just able to turn here in the valley without
all the way
any
around.
issues.
Very nicely done. I'm not used to feeling G's like in a PC12.
Yeah.
Normally you're sitting in the back with a champagne, you know.
True,
It's
true.
very maneuverable as well.
Yeah. That's what happens if just two pilots are flying without passengers, right?
That's exactly right.
Once a new Pilatus aircraft is ready to be delivered to its customer, it still has quite a journey ahead of it, especially when that customer is on the other side of the world. Aircraft bound for Australia are generally flown out of Switzerland along a multi-day ferry route that typically goes through Crete, then down to Egypt, across to Muscat in Oman, Chennai in southern India, across the ocean to Southeast Asia, through Surabaya in Indonesia, before finally entering Australia, normally through Broome, sometimes Darwin, and then onto its final destination, to whichever airport the aircraft is going to be based at. But before it leaves Switzerland, every aircraft is thoroughly inspected, ground tested, and flown by Pilatus test pilots to make sure everything performs exactly as it should. And that testing isn't just aerial testing either. All of the systems and all of the internal components are put through very rigorous testing before the aircraft is certified to leave.
It's quite stable, isn't it?
It is in the turn, yeah. Are you trimming a little bit back just for a bit of back pressure and then... Because you're not using the controls very much in that turn.
Yeah, true. I have the stabilizer trim to the pitch trim on my yoke.
Okay.
I trim quite a lot on the stabilizer. Nothing on the rudder. It's all done by the yaw damper.
Oh, your damper's on,
And
yep.
the aileron trim, you can trim, but it's not used often.
Yeah, yes, yep.
Now I guess you would also like to fly a little bit, right?
I'd love to, yeah, I'd love to have a go, yeah.
I'll try to trim the aircraft so you have a good aircraft.
Thank you, that always helps.
Yeah, you have control.
Okay, my aircraft, thank you.
Now, before I say this next part about the PC12 Pro, I just want you to understand that any time you get an opportunity to sit in the cockpit of a brand new multi-million-dollar full glass cockpit aircraft, of course your impressions of it are going to be positive. It was a real privilege to be asked to fly this aircraft, and it was leagues ahead in terms of the experience compared to other aircraft that I've flown recently. But I flew the PC12 Pro for around 15 minutes around the peaks of the Swiss Alps, and I have to say, it is also a lovely aircraft just to fly hands-on as a pilot. The controls are responsive, but they also have enough weight not to feel too slippery. You do need to confidently move the aircraft to a position, but when it's there, it won't move unless you then tell it to. It's rock solid in the turns, but it also doesn't run away from you on descent. The cockpit of the PC12 Pro does feel more spacious than the TBMs I've sat in the past, and it's certainly bigger than planes like the Piper Meridian I flew a few years ago. It would be interesting to compare the cockpit to the new Piper M700, which I haven't actually flown, but I should say, even with my seat fully back and reclined, I did find that my knees were bumping the control yoke from time to time. It's snug like any turboprop cockpit is. Even though you can legally put a non-flying passenger in the co-pilot seat, you would definitely need to give them a good briefing on not accidentally knocking the flight controls, especially on longer flights. But I knew I would enjoy flying this aircraft before today. What I didn't realise though was how much I would actually love flying it. The cockpit was always going to be impressive, and the performance and reliability of the PT6, well, that's legendary. But the manoeuvring and handling of this aircraft actually make it a lot of fun to fly as well. I think the PC12 gives you a really good balance as a pilot, because when you're manoeuvring it around the sky, it's very stable, but it's not too stable.
And we will now fly the Lake of Eiger. So this will be an RMP Alpha approach into Buochs, so GPS-based approach.
Okay.
It starts out of Ronix, 6,000 feet. And then it's a non-standard approach because it ends up over the lake, right? 800 feet over the lake, and we need to have a visibility of 4,500 meters to do this approach, because the final approach is a visual approach.
And what, sorry, you told me the altitude, but what can you get down to on this approach? What would your...
It's 2,280 feet, and the ground is 1,470 feet, so roughly 800 feet. Yes.
Yeah, that's very good. What sort of speeds do you look for on the approach?
Now 150, but that's due to the procedure. because the procedure is limited to 150 knots.
Okay.
Due to the turn will do. And Pilatus in front again, and on the right you have the city of Lucerne.
Oh, brilliant.
So we're aiming for a short field landing, if you don't mind.
Yes, let's have a look at how this aircraft performs on a short field.
Very good.
As if you were a Royal Flying Doctor in the Australian outback and you've only got a small strip to work on.
Yes. The automation is all off, and I'm clear to land. Stabilized, a little bit high, correcting. Check completed, clear to land. Reverse gently on the brakes. Did we stop?
Did we stop?
Yeah.
Well done. We're just at the, we're not even past the touchdown markers. That was so good. Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
I love that.
Want a taxi?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let me try taxi. That'd be good.
Your controls.
My controls.
I'll
You
do
on-
the
you
after
on
landing
power?
check. Traffic light is activated.
So it's kind of fun in a way to think that I've travelled all the way across the world pretty much to see an aircraft manufacturer who is critical to my home country of Australia. I can understand why, though, the Royal Flying Doctor Service, as well as many other customers, don't get me wrong, but in our case particularly, the RFDS has chosen the PC12, and in this case the PC12 Pro, the new fun variant of the aircraft. It's obviously incredibly capable, but most importantly, I think for the RFDS, it's durable. It's a really powerful, strong workhorse. And after having the privilege of actually flying a PC12 Pro today, I can understand why they chose it.